Today we are going to look at Limacon graphs. Okay? So, where does this top piece go? Where on your note sheet is this going to go? Under the form. So in the box that says form, copy the two forms of a Limacon. There's a box at the top that says form. Okay, so these are the two forms. Yesterday we did the form for a rose curve, which is, so roses are multiplication. Limacon is addition or subtraction. It sounds more fun when I say Limacon, but Limacon. Okay. Good? Okay. Now, if it is a Limacon, we are going to, first thing we're going to do is A divided by B. We're going to do A divided by B. And if A divided by B is smaller than 1, I'm going to have an inner loop. And it looks like this. So, this box here. So you would do A over B. If it is less than 1, it has an inner loop. Turn your paper sideways, draw a heart, and then put a little loop in the center. Okay? If it is equal to 1, it's a cardioid. So it looks like a heart. And I remember one true love, heart. Cardioid, yeah. Like a cardiologist, yeah, heart. Okay? If it is between, if it is between 1 and 2, it is dimpled, so it kind of looks like a lima bean. So it's like a heart that doesn't have as sharp of an indentation. Okay? And there's a typo on your paper. It should say greater than 2, not greater than 1. I was cutting and pasting when I was trying to save time and forgot to switch it. Cardioid is for equals 1. Okay? And convex, all like a circle, an egg, an oval. Okay, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to get those copied. Okay, so the box that says symmetry, cosine is x, so that means it folds over the x-axis, and if it's sine, it folds over the y-axis, which means that equidistance so if it is folding over the x-axis, my points are equidistant on which axis? On the y. If it's folding over the y-axis, it's equidistant on the x. And sorry, I probably spelled equidistance wrong. Sorry. Okay, good? Remember, when you learned in geometry the symmetry, so if it's symmetrical to the x, that means that your y's were flipped. If it was symmetrical to the y, then your x's were flipped. Do you remember doing that? Okay? All right. Now we are going to practice one. So find some space on your paper. Okay, so we are going to work through one quickly. And so the first thing we're going to do is notice. Okay, so the first thing, is this a rose or a Limacon? Limacon. Okay, so I need to do A over B. which is what? 5 over 2, which is 2.5. So it's going to be convex. Okay? Okay. Where is its symmetry going to be? Where is its symmetry going to be? X-axis. Okay? Okay. So, which axis is the 0 axis for cosine? Why, right? When we do the cosine of 90, we get 0. So, if this were replaced with 0, it would leave me with the number 5, which means on the y-axis, or the 90 to 70, I'm going to mark 5 on both axes. No, 5 is the distance on the y-axis. It's not necessarily the radius, because it's not going to make a perfect, it's not like a perfect circle. Okay, so, okay, now, your brain, if it works like mine, you go, wait, that's 5 and -5, yes? Because our brain is trained to work on an XY axis. But on a polar, this is 270 +5, 90 +5. Okay? Good? All right. So I'm trying to give you all the math behind the reasons, but basically, opposite axes. So cosine is the x-axis. Opposite axes, I mark the 5 both ways. Okay? Can someone tell me the highest value ratio that cosine can be? Guys, unit circle. 1. The highest it can be is 1. So if I replace this with 1, that is 5 plus 2, which is 7. So my max is 7. 5 plus 2. What is the lowest cosine can be? -1. So 5 minus 2, because 2 times a -1, right? So basically, all I did was add these two numbers, subtract these two numbers. Okay? The minimum is 3. Now, I'm going to show it the correct mathematically, and then I'm going to show you the way that my brain works. Okay? Because my brain sometimes has a hard time seeing polar. I'm an XY person. So I'm going to show you a way that works every time. Okay? All right. So this is positive. So my max is going to be on the positive axis. So on the positive axis, I'm going to mark 7. Okay? And then on the negative axis, I'm going to mark 3. Okay? Connect the dots. I'm done. Now, if your brain works like mine, and you're like, you would have put this at 7 and 3 both on the same axis, here's another trick. So technically, it's 5 plus 2 and then 5 minus 2, because of the unit circle and replacing with a +1 and a -1. But if you want to get it on the right axes, if your brain always thinks XY, you can do 2 minus 5, -3, 2 plus 5, 7. You can go in the opposite direction. Kylan. Yes, so think about it. The reason why this is A is, what cancels this out? A 0. When is cosine 0? 90 and 270. Cool? And then adding them and subtracting them give you the correct axes, okay? Because that's when I do max of 1, min of -1, and do the math, okay? And so all the other points fall somewhere in between. I really don't care when it's convex, okay? Good? Question. It is symmetrical to x because it's cosine. Okay? Okay. So, shh. I'm going to give you some tricks to cut your work down. Okay? Yesterday, I made you do the full unit circle, every quadrant, plug in the numbers and get the values, right? Okay. So, let me help you out. Last period had trouble seeing this, so let me explain what I'm doing and what I'm using, okay? Unit circle, unit 2. Some of you had me as your teacher, unit 2. Some of you did not. So, a quick recap. Okay. In the unit circle, cosine of 0 is 1, cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. You guys remember seeing this? Yes? So, for cosine, the pretty numbers are 0, 60, and 90. For sine, the pretty numbers are 0, 30, and 90. So those are the numbers that I use. If it's a cosine graph, I plug in 0, 60, and 90. If it's a sine, I use 0, 30, and 90 to save myself time. You can do all of them. It's not necessary. The other beauty of this unit is everything is symmetrical. So once you know what symmetry, which axes it's symmetrical to, you can just kind of plot the points on both sides. Good? Okay. So let's look at this first one. Limacon or rows? Limacon. Okay, so 4 divided by 3 is 1.3. What shape should this make? Dimples. Okay, so it is cosine. When is cosine 0 on which axis? The y-axis. So we are going to plot that first. We're going to plot 90 and 270, right? So for 90 and 270, this piece is going to become what number? What's the cosine of 90? 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So at 90 and 270, this goes completely away. So 4 plus 0 is 4. So on both axes, I'm going to mark 4. 4, 4. Okay? Now I'm going to do my minimum and my maximum. Who can tell me how to calculate my min and my max? Go ahead. Okay, so 4 plus 3. Okay, and it's because my max is going to be 1. My max is going to be 1. 3 times 1 is a positive 3, and 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3. So 7 and 1. Which axis is my max going to be on? The, the, which one? The x-axis, but which side? On the positive side, because this is a plus. So I'm going to put, you guys, mine only has 6 rings, yours only had 5. I messed up when I picked this problem, sorry. So you're going to like space out what would be 2 rings, 2 extra rings, okay? Now, what value am I going to mark on the negative side? 1. Beautiful, okay? Now, I kind of need to figure out my dimple, okay? So, obviously, my big curve is here. Hold on, my big curve is here because these are super spaced out, right? So my dimple is going to be here and here, in this quadrant and in this quadrant, okay? What is the 60 in this quadrant? Why did I pick 60? It's a pretty number, okay? So what is the 60 in this neighborhood? 120. Okay. So 120 is a 60, right? Positive or negative? Negative. Okay. So I'm going to do 4 plus 3 times a negative 1/2 because the cosine of 60 is 1/2, which gives me 4 minus 1.5, which is 2.5. So 2.5 is right here on the 60. I have an extra line because mine counts by 15. okay? Now, do I have to do any other math? No, because it's all symmetrical. So I'm going to come over to this 60 and mark it right there, 2.5. Make my dimple. Graph is done. Much easier than making the table of values. I will show you how the table of values works, though. Yes, ma'am. You kind of have to know where it does this little dimple curvy. Okay? One ring, two ring, 2.5. Always from the origin. Again, my graph is a different scale than yours. 2.5. So between ring 2 and ring 3. Good? Do you want me to show you plugging in every ordered pair, or do you prefer this? Okay. If just really quickly, if I did every ordered pair, it would be 4 plus 3 times the cosine of 60. Oh, that's a half. 4 plus 3 times a half, that's 5.5. You kind of go piece by piece, okay? Good? This is good enough to understand the structure of the graph. Question? Yes. Okay, where did the 120 come from? Cosine is best at 60, right? If you did the hand trick, 60 is a half. So when I look in quadrant 2, what is my 60-degree angle? 120. Good? All right. So yesterday, we graphed some roses, and I made you do the full table. Okay? So today, I'm going to do the table and some shortcuts kind of mixed together. And you pick up what works best for you. Okay? All right. Okay, we are doing letter D, which says R equals 5 cosine 3 theta. Okay, so talk to me. What's my length? My length is 5. What's my symmetry? X-axis. Okay, because this is odd. How many petals? 3 petals. Okay, good. Now, why did I do what I just did? 360 divided by 3. It has to be symmetrical. So I know once I find one petal, the tip of the next one will be 120 degrees away. Okay? We always start with 0. So 0, and this is cosine, right? But I'm going to list them all out because, hold on. Am I going to use the normal angles? No, because I have to do 3 times the angle. So 3 times 0 is 0 degrees. 3 times 30 is 90 degrees. 3 times 45 is 135. Am I going to use that? No, because that's not going to work out for me. 60 times 3 is 180. Does that work? Is that a pretty number, 180? Yep. And then 90 times 3, 270. Okay, excellent. Now, I'm going to do 5 times the cosine of this red number. The red number is after I've already multiplied by 3. So, what is the cosine of 0? It is 1. What is the cosine of 90? 0. What is the cosine of 180? And the cosine of 270? 0. Okay? Technically, once I hit a 0 for petals, I'm kind of done. Okay? I'm really done. I'm going to show you why in a second. Okay? So, on the 0 pole, I'm going to go out to 5. And then once I move 30 degrees away, I'm already back to 0. So I'm going to go out 30 degrees and hit 0. It's going to go out 30 degrees and hit 0, right? So how many degrees is it going to go out this way? 30 degrees. Once you hit the 0, okay, the 0 tells me how wide. Okay, so if it took me 45 degrees to get back to the origin, then it would be 45 degrees on each side. Cool? Okay, so now we're going to use this shortcut. Or if you'd like, you could do 120, 135, 150, 180. You could go through all of them, okay? I'm going to show you in a minute that both ways work. So this is 0. Every petal is how many degrees away? 120. What's your question? What does the 1 tell me? That's the highest point. Because cosine, the highest cosine can be is 1. So it's the highest point. It's the tip of the petal. Yeah. 5 times 1 is 5. Okay? All right. So my next petal is going to be at 120. And how wide is it on each side? How wide is it on each side? 30 degrees. So 30 degrees this way, 30 degrees this way. Okay? Where's my next petal going to be? Where's my next petal going to be? Right there doesn't help me. I need a number. Where is it? Okay? 120 degrees away is how much? 240. 120 plus 240, yes? 30 wide, 30 wide. Picture is done. That is using shortcut and symmetry. I'm going to show you how I got the blue using the correct math. Okay? So I would have done 120 times it by 3 is 360. What is the cosine of 360? 1, which gives me that 5. Oh, boom. I remember that it's 30 on both sides. You follow? Okay? Good? Thumbs up if we're okay? I heard a no. Where's the no? What's your question? Okay, so go back here. How many degrees did it take me to get back to the origin? 30. And it's symmetrical, so yes. How can I tell the difference? Okay? A rose is a multiplication problem. A Limacon is an addition or subtraction. Good? All right. Okay. So my points are going to be on the negative axis because of this minus here. Okay. What makes this 0? Thank you. 90 and 270. So at 90 and 270, my answer is going to be 2. Boom. Boom. Good? Okay. Now I'm going to do 2 plus a negative 3 and 2 minus a negative 3. Okay? So this is for, I'll wait. This is for 0 degrees. This is for 180 degrees. So 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. 2 minus a negative 3 is 5. So at 0 degrees, I'm going to go backwards 1. And at 180 degrees, I'm going to go to 5. Okay? 2 over 3 is less than 1, so it's going to have a loop. So, yes, where is positive 5 on the 180 axis? You walk towards 180. Okay, now, here we go. Now, I also told you that if you have trouble, you could do negative 3 minus 2, which gives me the negative 5, and negative 3 plus 2, which gives me negative 1. So that does an xy axis. Question. No. It's going to be 5 because it's still the highest value, right? Okay. All right. Now, I need to figure out where my loop does its thing, okay? So, I'll wait. For cosine, what angle do I use? I've already used the zeros and the 90s. So what do I use? 60 degrees. 60 degrees is equal to 1/2. 2 minus 3 times 1/2 is what? 2 minus 1.5, which is 0.5. So on the 60 line, I'm going to go to 0.5. And on the 60 here, I'm going to go 0.5. Why didn't I have to show my math for this line here? Because it's symmetrical. You do your little loop, and then you bring it around. Now, if you want to get the proper width is going to be 2 plus 1.5, which is 3.5, okay? So the 120 and the 240 would have been at 3.5. I am checking max min correct shape. You should have, if it's a Limacon, you should have 5 points. Because I need the points where the loop or the dimple occur. Okay? You will have 3 points that are really spaced out. That's your big rounded outside. And then you need to have the 3 closer. Okay? Question. Okay? So the plus is always for the 0 degree, and the minus is for the 180. Because minus cosine is negative 1 at 180, cosine is positive 1 at 0. Good? All right. So you want to finish the matching for homework, and you can rewatch this video if you need to.